Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and I'm about to slaughter a lot of names. But that being said, we have a new ship. This is the build and play guide for the Picardie. Picardie something. Buckle up, boys. If you guys don't like bad pronunciations, you're in for a long haul. But anyway, guys, this is actually a pretty interesting ship in a lot of ways. I do actually like it more than I thought I would. First off, let's talk about the commander. This is a secondary build, and I actually do not use Dunkirk. For my main builds, I use her for my secondaries on the French. But we are using Von Hipper and Haruna with Flammable Cannoneer, Porcupine, a marksmanship, Master Mechanic, and Fight Fire with Fire. You could, if you wanted to go the other way, go with Emile Japard. If you wanted, uh, honestly, not going to be a huge difference because you're not super building into the main guns on this. And we'll talk about that here in a second. So, for your modifications, we're using secondary mod 2, the propulsion mod as always, and the concealment along with the secondary battery reload. This may get changed, but I doubt it does. To me, it feels pretty balanced for the most part, considering the ships that have come out recently. And for your repair party, you get 5 on this build. They are pretty decent, actually. And you get 2 main battery reload boosters. Now, these sound like these would be amazing, and they're not bad. But because your main guns really aren't super amazing, these are, obviously it's probably not as much as having a reload booster on like Jean Bart or something. You know what I mean? Something with them good guns. It does have the newer enhanced targeting systems on it, which is nice. Now, there is a few things that kind of separate this out from some other ships that we're going to talk about. For survivability, 61,000 health. It is a little bit on the low side, but with the heals that you get, the health pool that is basically the usable health pool is pretty good on this, it seems. Now, I haven't seen anything on this ship, so I am just going off of what I have known playing this ship right now. These are 12-inch guns, and they can kind of be. It's hard to explain these guns. They're not terrible, but they're not wonderful either. It's hard to explain. Cruisers, they work great on cruisers. But on battleships, the AP is a little unimpressive. And honestly, probably okay to go ahead and help with your fire chances. Because having 16 of these, the fire chance is not that bad on it. And the fire damage is almost half of your AP, so it's pretty decent on that respect. But again, as it goes, you do have 16 of them. In all but the rear turret are kind of, well, the 2 middle turrets are 360-degree type turrets, whereas at the front and the very back one aren't. But the middle turrets can be very handy to be on target all the time. AA defense, I've been in carrier matches all day because also, if you guys didn't know, the new West Virginia's out, and I have been in the Chekhov matches in every match, but I think 1 or 2, and I think this is the one you're gonna see for multiple reasons. Obviously, this thing, like anything right now, can be affected by that, and let's be honest, they're probably gonna rebalance Chekhov. So me showing it in that type of match where it's just getting pummeled is not a great thing. So. The maneuverability at tier 7, pretty darn good for a battleship. That's the one thing that caught me off guard. It's relatively decent speed, and it has a solid turning circle. And you're going to see that in our match a little bit today. And the concealment 12-4, while it is a battleship and you're not going to sneak up on a dead moose, A lot of times with this 12-4, which is a little bit lower than normal French battleships, 12-4, there's already people coming at you, and you're already in range of your secondaries, and that's what I want to talk about here now. You have a pretty decent amount of secondaries. They're 130s. So they're not huge, but they're not tiny. Like, for example, a lot of them that are on Flounder that just them 100 millimeters that break apart. These do survive better than that. Now, while talking about that, the main guns do break quite a bit on this thing. I think it's just a French thing. They like to break their own guns. But outside of that, pretty secondaries on this, not too bad. I wouldn't say they're awesome, but they're definitely not terrible. Uh, they're not going to do just a sheer outright tons of damage, but they are going to be pretty decent. A lot of this ship is very kind of middle of the road. Like the guns are and the secondaries are pretty decent, especially because you can get them out to 11-1, so it's very average in that regard. But the one thing that I personally like about this ship is the armor. Okay, so if we look here, you do have a 32 millimeter bow and an extended belt, and yes, that is under your torpedo protection as well. And this thing is pretty tough as nails. You get away with stuff that you're not supposed to get away with. And a lot of time, so far, this armor scheme kind of reminds me of Atlantico a little bit. Whereas if you're far out, there's this stuff that's gonna damage you. The closer in you get with this, because you have a significant amount of armor, I feel, on the deck, on your side plating, kind of everywhere, you're not going to take a ton of damage with this thing, and it's going to be kind of tankier than it looks because of that. Also, another thing it has going for it, right here, we'll take this off. It does have a turtleback, and I can assure you, even in this match, you're going to see me get away with stuff I should not be getting away with. Okay, and this Citadel is relatively small for a battleship, and it is very low. It is actually under the water, as you can see. I have not been Citadel. The one thing I would worry about, though, is because of how kind of short the water line is on the deck. You may have some issues at range with plunging fire from like American battleships and whatnot. But overall, this is kind of the thing about it that like I expected to be a dead a lot longer or quicker in this ship in the scenarios I've put it in so far, and we'll go look at stats here, and it just didn't die right away. It's a very survivable ship. Now, we've been in 3 battles, like I said, aircraft carriers and all but the one you're gonna see. And honestly, even against the Chekhov, it does get wrecked like everything else. But because of the heels and kind of the tankiness of this thing, it kept me around a little bit. One match, I really wasn't able to do a whole lot, but I was. But outside of that, I think both other games are pretty solid. My stats in it, 33% win rate. It's only 3 matches, but I feel like this is definitely going to be a ship where I have a decent win rate in it down the road. It's definitely a respectable ship, guys. You can see my average damage is over 100,000, which is respectable, and my potential damage against this thing is 1.4 thousand. And being that my best damage, I get potential damage against me is only 1.69. That's meaning I've been pretty consistent with being able to take damage in this. Now, the carriers have made surviving in this thing a little rough, but outside of that, this thing has been pretty darn good. As we start the match, it's disclaimer time. This is a beginner's video meant to help people new to the ship or new to the game. This is not meant for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything in the universe. There are multiple ways to play and build this ship, and I am an above average player. Not the world's best. I make mistakes. You may see one in this match. You didn't come here for pronunciations. I'm as good as anybody at slaughtering beautiful languages all the time. With that out of the way, we have a Shimanto and a Palmer next to us here on Sea of Fortune. And I'm going to work my way up towards this island, try to get myself or not spotted, and work myself up. Now, I just assumed this Pomeran was going to move more straightforward, and he actually does kind of do that. In this match, you're going to kind of see how tough it is, in a lot of ways. Obviously, every match has been about 1.5 million potential damaging against me, meaning that it's a tough as nails type of ship. But in this one in particular, you're going to kind of see it, because I'm going to get away also with some stuff I probably shouldn't. And this ship is one of them ships that it kind of catches you off guard. You're like expecting a big hit, and you're like, ooh, okay, not nearly as bad as what that should have been, right? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to push up here. We kind of got some island cover. We're hoping the destroyer is not here, but we're assuming it's in the middle of the map. And we're going to just be a little bit careful. The good news is with this detection, we can kind of see what's going on. And we see the Amagi here, so we're going to try to turn out and try to take a shot here. But the one thing about this ship is, as we see the bag of trash, the P bag over here, we're gonna go over and take a shot at him. And now my focus is gonna be him because he's a radar cruiser. We need to get rid of him. Honestly, what ends up happening on this right side of this island at Sea of Fortune all the time is like a kind of a deadlock, right? And my opinion is I'd rather be on the inside so I can dictate crossfires across the map, but then also I can control what's in the cap kind of with it. And you're going to see me make an adjustment here once I see that the Palmer is kind of just going to stop behind the island. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a turn to the left, as you can see here. Honestly, if he wants to chill behind this mountain, I'm totally fine with it. I get it. You don't want to rush out in front of everybody, but at the same time, we're going to move more towards the cap. That way he can cover somebody if they come up the right side here past the island, and I can go ahead and cover the left side. And then we do have a battleship on its way over here, but we have to be careful because there is actually going to be 4 battleships over here and a pretty decent cruiser in P-Bag. So we're just going to go ahead and move up. You can see I'm trying to keep a little bit angled. I, at this point, don't know what one is in the B cap. I didn't pay attention to that. But you can see we went dark and P-Bag has decided to move up. And this is a little bit, what I was saying is the guns aren't too bad. Now he's angling, so I'm not going to do a lot. But that first salvo wasn't bad for only 2 of my turrets going off on AP. But from here on out, you're going to see we just don't get a lot on him because he's making himself pretty skinny. He's angling. And to be honest, I probably should have switched to AP, but I just kept expecting him to turn to the right. But our secondaries, you can see, are pretty solid. They're pretty accurate. They're hitting them pretty well for the most part. And we're just going to let them do work here. And we're trying to not go past the island too much because there is a lot of angry people back there now because we're going to be taking out their cruiser right away. And I actually expected this cruiser to go behind that island over to the left. I didn't think he was going to be right there. But we know what's going to happen. Alabama is the closest person to us. What's going to be? He's not going to charge us. Also, I now know John Bart's over here, and I'm very thrilled about this. So we're going to go ahead and move up. As you can tell, we're not located over here. There's no destroyers, probably, for the most part. And we've seen that the one is in the middle cap. Now, they are in our D cap. But for here, I'm actually just going to scoot up. And I'm going to take a shot here at Suzuya at distance. But he's going to actually dodge these. But I'm going to go get the cap. Sure, I could damage hunt and... you can see we're 5 minutes. We're gonna be what, 5? We got rid of a cruiser, right? We haven't really gotten any battleships, but prioritizing in your games are big. But with this ship in particular, the detection, that 12-4 detection, while Normally that doesn't play a big role. That has actually been pretty significant for me and being pretty lucky of not. It's been pretty handy, to be honest, in getting into positions where you're not just, like in Flandre, for example. A lot of times it seems like you're spotted before you can get in a good position to use your secondaries. Now, my whole goal here now is I know there's a Jean Bart right there, and that he could be a problem for me, and I want to bait him out, right? You'd think he'd eventually come out on his own, but Jean Barts are the one ship that are very willing to just stay in one spot. So we're taking a look at what's going on over here. We're going to move up a little bit, maybe see if we can help our teammate here a little bit. But I got to be careful of the crossfires of the Jean Bart when I decide to start moving out. And I want to bait him out. And you're going to see here, we're going to make a little bit of a push, but we're 6 minutes in with only 32,000 damage. Now remember that, guys. We've had a slow start, but we took out a cruiser and we got the cap. Okay, so we've done our job so far, right? We've took out a radar cruiser, we got the cap, and we're going to be careful about pushing up here. I actually do think I do get... yeah, we see him coming up, so I don't have much choice. I got to angle the both of them. The best way to angle the both of these all these battleships in front of me, and you can see behind me, is to start angling here and to be in a position here. So this, we're going to go ahead, and the Magi's backing up. Now I take a shot, and I smoke that rock and show it's who's boss. But you're going to see here, I should be probably more angled than this, and he just hits me with everything. So I do take a damage, but look how much of that I heal back. And these are what I was talking about with the guns. They do, while I'm not getting citadels, I did get a really solid salvo out of that, right around 20,000, I think. 15, 20,000. So again, AP pretty decent, and you can see we're obviously, I should have, if I was in any other battleship, I feel like that a Magi would have just murdered me. But we are going to do another decent salvo into a Magi, and he's basically dead. Now I should have turned in a little bit here. This part's on me. There's no reason he should have got any more damage off me here. I should have quit pushing. But I was trying to give myself a way out. I thought he was going to die a little bit earlier than what he was. And I was trying to get around this island a little bit. Now, this poor Jean Bart. Alright. You can see he's basically full health. And you're going to see how this works out for him. So remember, it's basically me. There's 3 battleships right next to me. And we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to pick him off. Now, I actually go and try to break his guns a little bit here in the beginning. I figure I'd give it a try and just see, because I want to test the AP and HE. If you're shooting another battleship, unless you have a good broadside, I would probably be using HE in this thing. It would help your secondaries anyway with starting fires, so not a terrible idea at all. But you're going to see, I had not much health when I started this fight. And I was a little bit nervous because I was thinking, a lot of ships could, you're thinking, man, this is going to be rough. And I don't know if I can take all the damage, right? Because he's doing the right thing. He's shooting HE at me. We're going to heal up, but we're just going to whittle this guy down, and we're going to flip sides of our guns. You can see how handy these turrets are, because the back 3, whatever the side that you're shooting on, 3 are always going to be on target. So pretty handy in that, right? And we're going to see, again, we got company. There's another ship here, so we're going to put the secondaries on Jean Bart to get a perma-fire, and I'm going to work on shooting at the Alabama here. Now, one thing that you're going to see here is that there's another ship doing a pretty good job in here. I believe our Roma's doing a good job. We got our high caliber at 140, so we're doing work. And we, like I said, we've captured a base, so it's not like we've damage hunted. The first beginning of the match was very very much me playing smart and getting the cap, right? So, but this poor Jean Bart, man. And I'm gonna work on his teammates while he's doing this. And this whole time, I'm pretty much on death's edge here. And this is what I mean. This ship, you know, I took a really bad, I made a bad decision on that Amagi, and I kind of paid for it, obviously. But this ship is pretty forgiving. Like, we get a perma fire now on Alabama, so that's going. We're gonna try to get another one over here, and we're gonna get a little bit unlucky. And again, we're staying angled and we're doing good, but you can see our guns have been out a few times now, right? And the good news is I've kept myself pretty close to island, so if I really, really had to disengage, I could. So we do get rid of Jean Bart. That poor Jean Bart just sat there and ate secondaries. Once he pulled out, it was kind of probably a pretty rough spot for him. So we got another heal. We're going to heal up, and we're going to turn back in and take these guys on, because I'll tell you what, in a lot of ways, I am not scared of much in this ship other than a Chekhov air carrier right now. If you guys are watching this in the future, the thing just came out right now, and it is impossible to stop, by the way, right now, currently. The only counter is to go to port before you start the match. That's it. So we're going to continue to try to get Alabama work down. Now, he does damage combat fire, so I had originally switched to AP, and I switched back realizing, okay, if I just get a fire on him, he's probably dead, right? So, because he is angling to pretty well, actually, to me and my teammates. So we're going to go ahead and move up, but at this point in the matches start getting out of hand. So right now, guys, if you're wondering how to get this is a temporarily rental. It will probably be coming out real soon, but I don't feel like they're going to change this ship very much. It's very good, in my opinion. I definitely don't think it's, like, unbalanced or overpowered. I don't know if they will change it at all, but if they do, I will make a new guide for it if it's substantial. Honestly, I really like this ship. Honestly, I was excited about the new West Virginia, and that thing has been, Alright, we'll talk about that in a later video. But, obviously, we know that guy is there, and I was trying to angle away from him, but now that he's the only one left, we're just going to try to go towards him. Now, I actually thought this guy was pushing up a little bit more than what he was. I thought we were just going to naturally spot him. But we are not. And one thing that I want you to note too, while we're in this discussion about we're talking about a secondary ship, man, what they rob you on secondary XP in this game is getting bad. You're gonna see me and this Roma are gonna have very, very similar games. So obviously, I got a high cal plus 40,000. He does, I believe, get a high caliber at the end. I captured a base by myself. You know, we do have kills and assists, and you're gonna see the damage at the end. You're gonna be like, "What?" Or you're gonna see the actual. You're gonna see the XP at the end, and you're gonna be like, "What?" Because I capture a base. We do 186,000 damage right now. And I shoot my guns just to bait them into shooting me, and we're gonna go ahead and get a shot off here on Navarin. We're just gonna shoot HE for the time being. Not too worried. It's here at the end. We're gonna use up their last heal, but I believe Roma gets a high caliber. I can't remember when high Roma got its high caliber. Obviously played well. Yeah, he gets his high caliber at the very end, meaning he had 140 right at the end there. So I capture a base, do more damage, and you're going to see our base XP is going to be really atrocious here, guys. It's going to be 2,800, which is... I feel like it should have been about, if you're thinking if they balanced it out, it would be pretty good, because I definitely feel like I had a better game than the Roma. But not to take away from anything from Roma. Really great play by him and a very helpful teammate. Just was comparing so you guys can see if you're expecting to use this ship to get a lot of XP or something to that effect. It's not the secondaries in this game. You're gonna, it's just the way it's been. So, anyway, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time, folks.